So I know this is late and the game came out back in February, but I had a review written on my computer, so I figured I'd make a video for it to test out this new review format. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it. Hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the 5-Minute Review, a series where I tell you the good, the bad, and the in-between about the latest games releasing, in 5 minutes or less. Today's game is For Honor, and as always, I'm going to start off with some general thoughts. For Honor is a great example of why Ubisoft can never just let a good game be a good game. They have to throw in some bullshit. Now, at its core, For Honor is a super fun and challenging melee-style multiplayer game with an excellent combat system. Unfortunately, everything around that really brings it down a notch. The biggest problem, I feel, is the god-awful progression system and the pay-to-win mentality that completely ruins the replay factor. Progression moves at a snail's pace, and it requires you to stick with one character for hours and hours and hours if you want any chance of upgrading to some decent gear. Seriously, someone did the math and figured out it would take over 2 years of constant playing if you wanted to unlock every item, skin, or upgrade in the game. I played with the Valkyrie class for about 20 hours and I only ended up making it a little bit past Prestige 1. To make matters worse, you can skip all the progression if you want to spend hundreds of dollars on microtransactions that help you level up. You know, maybe that's why I felt so underleveled. I only bought the game once. Shame on me. The main feature in For Honor is the multiplayer, and as I said before, the game really does have a great combat system. There's also 4 different modes to play: 1v1, 2v2, 4v4, and then a 4v4 King of the Hill style mode. And while the 4v4 modes were fun at times, very often they became way too much of a clusterfuck. That leaves the 1v1s and the 2v2s, and they were certainly the highlight, and they were a blast to battle it out with a friend. Unfortunately though, the game has absolutely terrible connection. In an attempt to save money, Ubisoft used peer-to-peer connections, which ultimately led to constant drop matches, terrible lag, and terrible frame rate problems. This led to many frustrating moments, including this fun moment that still baffles me to this day. Now, aside from the multiplayer, For Honor also has a single-player mode, and while I appreciate them trying to add some sort of campaign, it turned out to be a pretty boring 7-hour tutorial mission. The story is meh, characters are meh, and I don't really think it's worth 7 hours of my time. For Honor has a very nice art style, and both the characters and maps have a very distinct medieval design to them. The maps flow well and the characters all look pretty badass. The music, on the other hand, is relatively forgettable, but overall the art and design is pretty solid all the way through. It's disappointing that the game ended up like this, because the combat is super fun. Let's just hope Ubisoft tries to make a proper game next time so that I can actually enjoy the great combat system without having to worry about bullshit. The game is undoubtedly fun to play at first, but once you play it for over 15 hours, you realize how bullshit some things are. The core gameplay is still worth experiencing if you can find the game for very cheap. And even with the bad single player, I would still consider giving it a 7 out of 10. However, the real lack of just care from Ubisoft should not be forgiven, and so I have to give the game a final score of 6.5 out of 10. If you want to read the full review or check out any of my other reviews, head over to chrisriveramedia.com/idm100. It's on screen and down below in the description.